Okay, then, let's tackle our next story. You know, the porosity of our borders had predominated discussions at security meetings over time regarding, as it does, the uncontrolled movement of people, especially suspicious characters and illicit items. Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has identified the country's border with Niger Republic as the most dangerous and porous, calling for an urgent border fence to stem the tide of terrorism. In the same vein, Minister of the Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has identified porous borders and underfunding of the police as major threats to international security. He is remarking that the National Immigration Service, Nigerian Immigration Service, has been allocated a mere 10 billion naira to secure Nigeria's extensive 4,024 square kilometer border space. The minister calls for a realistic approach to tackling the menace. Security is everybody's responsibility. Dukunle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's everybody's responsibility.
Okay.
And I quite agree with some of the, positions, being put forward. Nigeria's badly porous, border across.
Yeah. We've been talking about it for
years.
Yeah.
You go from here, you are in Adamawa, you enter Cameroon, you see moving, nobody has any questions. So whether they are doing legitimate things or not, you may never know. You go to Borno, same story. You are in Sokoto, in fact, when you are in Sokoto, you hardly know who is a Nigerian, who is a Chadian. The way they do, when they are doing it, so much that even the state government and their own state government, the way they do things, you will not know. Are we the same country? That's for legitimate.
The border crossing is not.
It's not monitored. We are not saying you cannot move, but it must be monitored, it must be regulated. So our border management system, very, very bad. Now, you come to the south, you know how many countries that border us? Now, in this time of Sahel crisis, it's worse.
It's worse.
It's worse. It's not only Niger. They are mentioning Niger. It's not only Niger. But Nigeria does not have the resources to fence all its borders. No country ever does. We have to, find a mix of options. I saw, I don't know whether some people, it's not only about fencing. People can still fence and still have problems.
You remember Trump's first coming? He talked about fencing the border with Mexico.
What people do these days, it's not only fencing. You must be in good, relationship with your neighbors.
Yeah.
That is the first thing. So that you can share
a joint
without even the joint, so that you can share intelligence. When you are on good, standing with your neighbors, what is coming here, they can tell you what is coming. Then you can always share, intelligence reports. When that is not happening, there is no border, fence or whatever that can work.
Okay.
Now you need technology. The world has, moved far beyond just erecting physical structures alone. No, with technology a lot. You can cite threats, potential threats from several miles before they even come. You just be monitoring, and you see trigger sensors that will tell you this and that. Many of these things we should begin to do, and you have a young man that is doing a massive job in the Interior Ministry.
Yeah.
Just encourage that fellow. What Nigeria can benefit is doing a lot. Massive job around this. So I guess he's talking also about poor remuneration for our policemen. Not only policemen, it's so many of the countries, the customs, the immigration officers, they manage borders, and the border patrols You know, there's a lot we can do beyond just erecting physical. You know, we still talk more about it.
All right, yeah. So we have come to that point where we look ourselves in eyeball to eyeball and say, no, we can do more than we're doing.
Yes, we can do more.
Yeah,
you know, but we need that resources for us to be able to do more,
and the will to do the extra mile.
If you listen to the Chief of Defense Staff speak sometimes, you will know that this man is talking from his heart. But when once he doesn't have the resources that he needs, you know, he was even talking about building. He was the one talking about building the walls. That there's a way that the Pakistanis build their walls, and then they give space. And so once there's that space, kilometers away, you'll be able to determine who is coming and who is not coming. And even from there, just like Adekunle has said, technology can also build technology in that gap. Maybe like a kilometer, you build your wall 1 kilometer away from where the border post will be, and so you can determine who are the enemies. Because most of the times, these terrorists, when they are coming, they come in thousands. So you will be able to determine who an enemy is and who is not an enemy.
Yeah.
Because Nigeria is so porous now that we have intermarried with our neighbors. You don't even know who is a Nigerian or who is a Chadian. The only thing, because we have, you know, mixed up together. We are even talking about the north. Even here in Ogun State.
Yeah.
In Ogun State, you just walk and you have entered the Benin. You know,
all right.
We need to bring in technology. I know the Minister of Interior has always said something about technology.
Yeah, okay.
You could see it from his eyes that if he can get money, he will be able to do miracle.
All right.
You know, around our borders.
Okay, he's waiting to weigh in here. So let's turn things over one more time to Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Biko, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
We need to approach this issue in a multi-dimensional manner. Pakistan had to erect a giant wall to take care of the problems posed by its neighbor, Afghanistan. And once Pakistan did that, a lot of the problems coming from Afghanistan they dealt with. What the CDS is saying is that the bulk of our problems, security problems, come from through our border with Niger Republic. Niger shares border with Nigeria in 7 different states. And it's a very, very extensive border, more than 1,000 kilometers. Sokoto, Jigawa, Kebbi, Yobe, Borno, you know, all of those states share border with Niger. The threats that we receive from other areas, from Cameroon, is minimal. In fact, it's almost non-existent in terms of security. I'm not talking about smuggling. In our border with Benin Republic, we really don't have issues, whether it is in Kebbi State or in Ogun State or even Lagos. We really don't have issues with from Benin Republic. But the Nigerians and the government in Niger has not been able to help us police those borders. So they're saying, let us fence it. America has technology. It has not stopped Mexicans and other people from coming illegally into America, bringing drugs to destroy the lives of their children. So that's why I'm saying we must deploy different approaches, different methods. Technology alone will not solve the problem. Let's not kid ourselves. We are not as technologically advanced as the Americans. But even Trump thought about building a huge wall and told the Mexicans that they were going to finance it. So as we think about technology, let's also look at physical, building physical walls that can help us the same way it has helped Pakistan against Afghanistan.
Okay. Sometimes you wonder if we are not a long way from home, you know.
No, we are really not if we take the right decisions.
Okay, then let's